How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 157 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Dowdle. What's up? All right. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for all the support. You're getting this on a Wednesday morning. I'm recording this on Tuesday, 9 o'clock at night. Just to let you know why the schedule was kind of off a little bit. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, follow me on all my socials, do all that good stuff. And like I said, God bless you guys and thank you for the support. All right, let's get to it. First of all, we're going to do a little different breakdown football-wise. We did go 15-1, so shout out to us. 15-1. Only team to disappoint me, the Ravens, but I'm going to let them slide because that Eagle team is really good, and it's not even the offense. The offense is kind of like, you know how you get, let's say you have like a big project, and like the presentation page, like the front page is like all sparkly and like a lot of color, and it looks good. But like what really is impressive about it is the body, but you got to get into it. That's how I feel about the Eagles. Offense, flashy. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon, Jalen Hurts, that offensive line, cool. The real reason they win games is the last 3 drafts that they've done with Howie Roseman and filling out that defense. Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. Still got Brandon Graham, of course, but he's hurt. Nolan Smith Jr., Jordan Davis. That's your that's why I think they won this game. That's why I think they won this game. But we'll get to that later. We're also going to do different type of breakdowns. We're getting later in the season, guys. We don't need the numbers anymore. We need to know what teams are good and what teams are not. Okay, so I don't need the stats to tell you that. Okay, I don't. You know that we've been here 156 episodes. This is 157. We know how. I get down. Yes, we're going to talk about the Steelers. We're going to talk about that offense. They went against a horrible Bengals defense. I'm talking about horrible. I mean, Trey Hendrickson is the only good player on that defense. And even with that, Bengals got a pick 6, But I said this. The Steelers' strength is just like the Eagles. Is that Super Bowl defense. It's not even a playoff defense. It's not a divisional round defense. It's not an AFC championship defense. No, this is a Super Bowl capable winning defense. Every phase. Front 4, linebacker, safety, and corner. Okay, and I'm not disputing that. Now, on the offensive side, I don't understand how you guys can go from, just think about it. I don't know how you guys can go from, oh my God, we're winning by field goals and not scoring, and then you go against one team in your division who is your second time facing them. You know that their defense ain't good, but at the same time, you don't remember the score. You won the game, but they scored 38 on that defense. 38. Okay? So, let me pull up the scores. I don't want to like mistell you guys and stuff like that. And this is just the overview. We're not even into it yet. But just to like give you a teaser of like why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay? 44-38, so I was right. 44-38. This team is 4-8 in your division. And they scored 38 on you. And you put up 44. Good job. Now, you can't tell me that in the wild card round, maybe. But once you get to the divisional and AFC Championship, you're not facing no Mickey Mouse defense, bro. You facing the Bills. You're going to face the Ravens. You're going to face the number one scoring defense in the league in the Chargers. You're going to face the Chiefs. And then a good defense in the Texans. So I don't understand how you guys could go like, oh, my God, we threw for over 400. And you guys, 441. Yup. Russell Wilson, 414. Fifth highest in his career, I think, something like that. 29 out of 38, 3 touchdowns, a pick, 126.4 rating. You know, you guys ran the ball for 110 yards on 26 carries, averaging 4.2 yards a carry. Nice. You know, nobody went over 100 yards receiving. Everybody was kind of even. You know? But we'll get to this later, but don't tell me that you guys are like all of a sudden should be in the Super Bowl 4, which is what I call those 4 teams that, you know, Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills. Those are your Super Bowl 4. Ain't no Ravens in there. That back end's too can't do that. Ain't no Pittsburgh in there. That offense still iffy. You still can't run the ball. You still cannot run the ball. Like, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you still cannot run the ball. You are a garbage run offense. Garbage. You're not even starting the right dude. You should be starting Jaylen Warren for the last 2 years. But because you picked Najee high, you gotta start Najee. Politics. Instead of picking the best player, the more explosive player. You get what I'm saying? And now they're talking about Najee. Oh, my God, he's having such a great season and everything. Bro, you got picked. Where he got picked for what he did at Bama, he's been Eddie Lacy, bro. Let's just be real. He's been Trent Richardson. Like, for where he was picked and what he did at Bama right after Derrick Henry, get the hell out of here, bro. No. This man's a bust to me. A bust. Okay? His teammate Jerry Jeudy was a bust until 4 games ago. Okay? Like, you can't be this wishy-washy with players, man. They have to give you some type of showing that they can be that elite player. For example, you couldn't tell me Saquon was a bust after year 1. No. Couldn't tell me Jamar was a bust after year 1. No. Why? Look where they got drafted. Look what they produced. Okay? If you get drafted high as a running back, I at least expect you to be Jahmyr Gibbs. At least. Okay? Notice how I am naming all Bama. Take Saquon out of it. Last 5 Bama running backs to come into the league. No order in particular. You tell me who's the worst running back out of these 5. Ready? Jahmyr Gibbs. Derrick Henry. Brian Robinson Jr. Najee. And one more that I could throw you guys out. Josh Jacobs. Please tell me who's the worst out of that bunch right there. In my opinion, it's Najee. Najee's the slowest out of the bunch. If I want power, give me Josh Jacobs and Derrick. All day. If I want power, give me Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. Because that's their game. Derrick Henry a little bit more freaky with the speed. But Josh got a little bit on him too. If I want speed, give me Jahmyr, man. All day, Jahmyr. Give me 4-3 at the running back position, cutting like a receiver. If I want a little balance, Brian Robinson Jr. He got a little speed. He got power. Najee came in not wanting to catch. Najee came in as the slowest of the five. And he's been here the longest besides Derrick Henry. And the guy, till this day, still can't pick a hole right. And this is the Pittsburgh Steelers, where you go Franco Harris and Jerome Bettis, Le'Veon Bell. I'll even put Rashad Mendenhall in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? James Conner. Like, you want a thumper, but a thumper with concrete feet, they don't work. That's Toby Gerhart. That doesn't work. You need a thumper with some feet. Derrick Henry. Josh Jacobs. You get what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But, first of all, we got to get to Formula One. Qatar. Verstappen wins. 3 safety cars, two something safety cars. But the biggest thing that my dad, and fans all around the world saw is that if Lando wants to even sniff a championship in his career, and I'm talking about sniff a Formula One World Championship, he better have a little bit more dog in him when it comes to the battles for passing for position, especially at the front of the pack. Because if a guy is willing to push you out the way off track every single time that he has an opportunity to, that being Verstappen, he don't care. He rather push you off track, risk it with the stewards, knowing that they're not going to do nothing against him because they know he's an aggressive driver, than fall back and not pass him and know that he can't pass him later because dirty air and how the track is playing out and tires. Why do I say that? First of all, George Russell has the pole. First corner, loses it. First corner. To who? Verstappen. It goes George, Verstappen, Norris. For end of corner 1, Verstappen, Norris, Russell. Right there, I knew Russell was done. Russell didn't have shit for him. Nothing. So I was like, okay, so maybe Norris can catch him. Norris was around there, 1.2. Safety car comes out after the first lap. Colapinto out, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Safety car comes out. Boom. Safety car comes out. Nobody pits. Obviously, it's the first lap. Nobody do that. Okay, four laps of safety car because they had to get rid of the cars that couldn't, keep going. Restart. A perfect, and I mean absolutely perfect restart by Lando behind Verstappen. Right there. They shortened the DRS zone on the front straight. The only DRS zone honestly, the only passing zone in the racetrack, which they should change, even though they don't have a straightaway anywhere else in that track long enough. So they shortened it by like 75 meters from last year to this year. What does that do? The less you're under DRS, that means the closer you got to be coming out of the corner under bad air conditions, because when you're behind a car, especially in a Formula One car, you're getting turbulent air through the tires and through the frame. You're not getting clean air, and that messes up with the aerodynamics and the heating of the tires and how you come out of a corner and grip and all that. So they made it basically almost impossible for the top guys to pass. What do I say that? Because after you get past like 5th, everybody was starting to pass each other. Everybody was just zoom, 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 zoom. And it looked like the DRS was working. But when you get to the top 5, no dice. Norris got so close to Verstappen so many times over the next, I want to say like 7 to 10 laps, you had a chance to pass him. And you just couldn't get there. Same thing with Lewis. He just couldn't get to Sainz. You know what I'm saying? Russell, the same thing. Just couldn't get there. Sainz couldn't get there against Russell. You know? And then you get Lewis with a false start. He's done. And then you get Russell with a penalty as well, I believe, because the ending order was Leclerc. What did I write here? Hold up. A rebel for Hamilton and Norris, and Sainz, Leclerc, and Piastri, second and third. Leclerc got second. Piastri got third. Norris also had a penalty. Lewis had a 10-second penalty. Russell just couldn't do nothing once they put the hards on. This track was not good for the hards. They didn't test them. And once they put them on, they didn't want them. They'd rather be on scuffed mediums. Okay? But back to Max. And back to Norris, which is the fever pitch of the race. First restart. Right behind him. I'm talking about right behind him. Pulls out. Of course, Max is going to try to, block off, but he got there. He got to half of his car. Yeah, half a car length. Max had half a car length up going into turn 1. In the transition from turn 1 to turn 2, Norris pulled out in front by half a car. Okay? And then going into turn 2 to try to go into turn 3, so about to take turn 2, he lets off and goes back in line. That right there told me and my dad he don't want it. He doesn't have the balls that Verstappen or Hamilton has. Hamilton will race you clean, but he'll race you hard. If he has a shot, he will try to pass you. Verstappen doesn't care. Verstappen's like a Michael Schumacher. He will pass you because he wants to pass you. Regardless if it's clean or is it deemed fair or not. If Verstappen was on the outside with half a car length up on Norris on the inside, he would have took the position. But Norris, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he doesn't have that killer instinct. I don't know if he just doesn't want to be that driver, that guy. And to be a champion, you need to be a little bit of that guy. Okay? Because this is the greatest racing in the world. These are the biggest egos in driving. Okay? So when you have a guy like a Max Verstappen, a guy in the ilk of what you would say in other sports, a Deion Sanders, a LeBron James, the ego comes with it. The supreme confidence that I can beat anybody on any day, and then that ego comes with it. The ego says, nah, if I'm in front of you, if I am half a car length in front of you going into this corner and I can get the third corner to my side, to my liking, I'm a press on the gas and try to get in front of you. Norris didn't do that. As soon as Norris didn't do that, I knew that race was over. Because you do not give Max Verstappen free air. Because that car is made still to run extremely good in free air. Okay? And that track is made for free air. So, I in my opinion, Lando doesn't want it. I think Max will receive more of a challenge next year. even if they don't have better cars than Lando, even from Oscar Piastri, George Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, than Lando. Just because Lando does not seem to have that want to take it. That's my personal opinion. But it was a good race. You know, once you knew Verstappen was going to win, it was just a matter of when, how, if anything else was going to happen. Good race. Now they go to Abu Dhabi for the final race of the season at Yas Marina. A good Lewis track. The last time Lewis will ever sit in a Mercedes, will ever race for Toto. And the last time we're going to see a lot of these drivers in these seats. Probably some of these drivers will never sit in a Formula One car ever again, professionally. And we got big news about today. Cadillac paid over $400 million to join Formula One. 400 million. I believe it's 400 million. If not, it was more. Let me see. I sent it to my father. 450 million. As the beginning. That's just the beginning. Every team received 109 of the $1.2 billion revenue model. Okay? Cadillac going to F1 means that America has its foot again in the manufacturer side of Formula One. Hasn't been since Ford was the last American manufacturer to make Formula One engines with one of the greatest engines of all time, the 4VD, 4D. I mean, the 80s was ran by this engine. Cosworth, there it is. The Ford Cosworth engine. But now Cadillac is getting in. Don't know who the drivers are going to be. But I expect either to be one American. Depends if that said American either is Logan Sargent or somehow Colton Herta comes from Indy to Formula One, which was his original plan about a year ago. Or they get new people. They get young guys, or they pick up a Carlos Sainz, or, you know, whatever they're going to do. But it's good for Formula One. It's good for Americans to be back in Formula One in the full capacity. All right, let's get to college football. How is it possible that you go basically undefeated, lose by 1 to the number 1 team in the nation at their house? You steamroll over everybody else. Just blow the blocks off everybody else. And then you face your rival that you've lost 3 years in a row to. 3 years in a row, you've lost. Since you've been a coach at the Ohio State University, you have lost to Michigan. 3 years against Jim Harbaugh. And last year against Sherrone Moore, Jim Harbaugh wasn't even at the game. He was suspended. But then in your own house at the shoe. In front of 110,000 fans and students, you managed to put up 10 points against the team, and you lose 13-10 against the team who cannot pass the ball, against a team who does not have their number 1 corner, who would go against your number 1 receiver, Jeremiah Smith, and Will Johnson, and also does not have their number 1 weapon on offense, who's the tight end, Colston Loveland. and you lose. Why? How? How with that much budget, that much NIL, you steal Caleb Downs from Alabama? How? Very simple. It's mental. It's mental. The last guys that were left on that Michigan team, Mason Graham, Will Johnson, Colston Loveland to an extent because he was there last year. Those guys, Donovan Edwards, those guys, sorry for the cracking of voice, I don't know where that came from. Those guys knows what it's like to beat Ohio State. They know what it's like. The guys around them, the young guys that came, no. But those guys, the leadership, knows what it beats to know what it is to beat Ohio State. On the other side, there is no player that knows what it's like to beat Michigan. They're all gone. So, because it's been 3 years, now 4. First time since 88 to 91 that Ohio State loses 4 in a row to Michigan. They were 56-1 versus every other ranked unranked opponent. 0-4 versus Michigan in the last 4 years. And boy, this Michigan team was not good at all. Unranked. I mean, if we look at the record, I mean, it is 7-5, and it was 6-5 before this win. The game, the biggest rivalry in collegiate sports, one of the biggest rivalries in sports in general in the world. 10-13 at your house, when all you had to do was win this game and you go straight to the Big Ten title against Oregon. Now, you don't even go to the Big Ten title game. Now, instead of being possibly able to get a bye, and I have the bracket right here. We're going to go through the winners and losers and stuff like that, but I have the bracket right here. Okay? The bracket is as follows. Okay? The 12th seed is facing the 5th seed. The 12th seed is Arizona State. Would have been Colorado if they would have won against Arizona State last week. Colorado's out of the CFP and the Big Ten championship. The Big 12 championship, excuse me. Okay? So you got Arizona State, Penn State. Tennessee, 9th seed against Ohio State, 8th seed, and they dropped down from 2 to 6th in the rankings. So now, instead of, facing Oregon in the Big Ten title game, possibly beating them and buying yourself a first round bye in the playoffs, now you got to face a tough Tennessee team. It's in Columbus because you got to get a home game. But at the same time, it's still Tennessee. It's an SEC team with a good quarterback, good receivers, a hell of a running back, and a pretty good defense. That's a tough task. Do I think you can do it? Absolutely. They're not Michigan. They don't have a psychological edge over you. Then you have 11th ranked Alabama. They made it in against 6th ranked Notre Dame in South Bend. And I can tell you right now, Alabama's probably favored in that game. At 9-3, Alabama's favored against Notre Dame. It's just a fact, bro. It's just a fact. Notre Dame has failed time and time again. I remember when they had Manti Te'o and they got destroyed in the national championship. Rolled. Wasn't even close. And then you have 10th ranked, the 10th seed Indiana versus a 7th seed Georgia in Atlanta. That's not even fair. Now, can Atlanta win? Sure. Will they? Probably not. So then what do you have for your top four? Well, obviously you have Oregon, your number one seed, number one team in the nation, 12-0, only undefeated team in the nation. Will face winners of Tennessee, Ohio State. You got Boise State, 11-1 in the MAC, I believe. It's the champion of the best champion from out of the Power 5. Okay? It might be the Big 12, but I don't think they're in the Big 12 because Arizona State is in the Big 12, and it's SMU, ACC's SMU. It might be the Big 12. Yeah, because SEC's Texas, ACC's SMU, Oregon is Big 10, and Big 12, yeah, would be Boise State. Okay, so Boise State number 4 would face the winner of Arizona State, Penn State. Tennessee, Ohio State faces Oregon in the second round. Alabama, Notre Dame have to face SMU. That's kind of a nice, but don't take SMU lightly. And then the winner of Indiana, Georgia goes against Texas. You want to know who the first team out is? We lost, and that's why we're out. First team out. Second team out, Ole Miss. Okay? The top 12 are made of the top 15. Okay? Of the top 15. Yeah, because Oregon 1, Texas 2, Penn State 3, Notre Dame 4, 5 is Georgia, Ohio State 6, 7 is Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise State, Bama, Arizona State. 1 through 15 make your 12. Okay? It's going to be very interesting. Those Arizona State, Penn State, that Bama, Notre Dame, and that Indiana, Georgia. If those three are blowouts, there might be a flaw in the system. I could see Penn State or Arizona State being a blowout. I could see Georgia, Indiana possibly being a blowout. I could see Bama, Notre Dame possibly being a blowout. And then you go Bama, SMU, possibly a blowout. You go Penn State, Boise State, possibly a blowout. Indiana, Texas, possibly a blowout. So in the first round and the quarterfinals, you'll have blowouts. But after that, bro, let's say Penn State passes. I expect Penn State to go against Boise State. They beat Boise State. Then you would have either, let's say Ohio State beats Tennessee. You would either have Ohio State versus Penn State, a rematch of what? Well, not a rematch, but a great rivalry. Or you have Oregon, Penn State. If you go down, it'd be SMU, Bama. I'm thinking Bama wins against Notre Dame. Just something I feel. And then Bama, for the sake of argument, Georgia, Texas. Let's say Texas wins that game. Then you got Bama, Texas. And from there, you go Bama, Texas, Oregon, Penn State. Yeah, because I think Oregon would win against either Tennessee or Ohio State, in my opinion. Oregon, Penn State, and then your national championship would be Oregon, Texas, which is what a lot of people predicted at the beginning of the season. Oregon, Texas, which to me are the two best teams in the country. So it's nice. It looks like it's going to be some nice games, but still Ohio State losing. Bad. Tennessee destroys 36-23, beats Vanderbilt, takes care of business. South Carolina knocks out Clemson by winning 17-14. Illinois beats Northwestern. That doesn't matter, the 23rd. Penn State destroys Maryland 44-7. Notre Dame beats USC in a tight game 49-35, but it was much closer than that. Miami loses against Syracuse 42-38 in a game where I don't even know how they lost, being stupid, essentially, and Kyle McCord playing his ass off. SMU destroys California 38-6. You have Bama beating Auburn 28-14 to get in the playoff. Arizona State destroys Arizona 49-7, does what they need to do. Missouri doesn't matter, 28-21 against Arkansas. Indiana beats the bricks off of Purdue 66-0 to claim their spot. Oregon destroys Washington 49-21 to keep their spot. Texas wins 17-7 against Texas A&M in a topsy-turvy type of game for Texas to keep their SEC championship bid. Iowa State beats Kansas State, knocks out Colorado. And then UNLV beats Nevada, and BYU really knocks out Colorado because if BYU would have lost, Colorado still had a chance. But BYU wins against Houston, knocks out Colorado. Okay? Boise State beats Oregon 34-18. Colorado goes nuts in their last game, 52-0 against Oklahoma State. Travis Hunter gets over 10 catches, 110 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. That is done, okay? That's done. Heisman, done. Done. The Nagorski Award, the number 1 defensive player of in the country, done. It's Travis Hunter. Okay? This man is ranked second as a defensive back in the country in grade. 5th as a wide receiver. Are you kidding me? Stop it. Genty is on the path that he needs to beat Barry's record. He got 224 yards this past week. I think he needs 190 something yards, something like that, crazy. In the, what is their conference, bro? Is it the Big 12? It might be the Big 12. I might be tripping. The best game was honestly Georgia Tech, which I didn't expect it to be. But boy, 8 overtimes. Wow. 8 overtimes. That is incredible. 8 overtimes. That's what it took to beat Georgia Tech for Georgia. So Tennessee might cause. I don't think Indiana causes them problems. Maybe with the offense. It's a really good offense. But I don't know if the defense can keep up with Georgia. All right. Let's get to the NFL. All right. Lions beat the Bears. We knew this. Okay, we knew that was going to happen. Eberflus gets fired. I knew that was going to happen. I thought that he was going to get fired 2 weeks ago. But why does he get fired? Because it's a winnable game. In Detroit. On Thanksgiving. And I'm not talking about winnable like, oh my God, you could have really won. No. You could have actually won. Actually. Had chances to win, including at the end of the game. It ended 23-20. What happened? Well, if you really want to know, let's go through it. Okay? If we go play by play in the fourth quarter, okay? In the fourth quarter, they start at the 1. Great punt by the Detroit Lions. Start at the 1, Chicago does. They drive all the way to the Detroit 25. Detroit 25, 1st and 10, 46 seconds left with a timeout. Okay? On a pass interference penalty for 29 yards from the 46. First play, Caleb Williams, incomplete short to DJ Moore. Okay. 43 seconds left. Timeout by Chicago. They're second. Still got one left. 43 seconds left. 2nd and 10 from the Detroit 25. Caleb passes it to Keenan. And he's pushed out of bounds at the Detroit 13 for 12 yards. But penalty on Tevin Jenkins. Illegal use of the hands. 10 yards back. No play. 2nd and 20. 36 seconds left. Detroit 35. This is a 20-20 game. This is a 23-20 game at this moment. Caleb gets sacked for -6 yards with 24 seconds left. And in 3rd and 26 at the Detroit 41, you go no huddle, a pass incomplete to Roma Dunze with zeros on the clock. If you can't pick up why Eberflus got fired in that sequence, I don't know what to tell you. That is some of the worst clock management I have ever seen in a football game. Because as soon as that sack happens and you know it's a running clock, you take that last time out. Either to drop a play or to tie the game, but you take the timeout. Not have your rookie quarterback running with his head cut off around the field trying to gather his teammates and snap the ball with 6 seconds left. Undisciplined. Okay, this game wasn't even all that either. Like, it wasn't crazy. Quick numbers. Caleb 256. He was also leading rusher. DJ Moore 97 with a touchdown. Keenan Allen 5 for 73, 2 touchdowns. Their defense, 2 sacks. No interceptions. Okay, on the other side, nothing crazy. Jared Goff, 221, 21 for 34. Not even that efficient. Still efficient, but not as efficient as he usually is. 221. 2 touchdowns, no picks. David Montgomery ran for 88. Jameer ran for 87. 33 carries for 194 yards, 5.9 yards a carry, 34 passes. 33 to 34, nice. Amon-Ra, 73 pass yards on 7 targets. Tim Patrick, 48. David Montgomery, 36. Jamison Williams, 5 for 28. Okay, their defense, 5 sacks. Nice. So Darius Smith had a sack and a half of that. Okay. And then no interceptions. So you had the number 1 seed in the NFC in their house with the ability to tie to go to overtime or win the game. And clock management loses you the game. That's why Eberflus is fired. Plain and simple. Now they need an offensive coach to get in there. You cannot do this to Caleb and then bring in another defensive coach with another offensive coordinator that if he's good, he's going to get plucked. So what am I doing if I'm the Bears? Cliff Kingsbury. Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick. That's what I'm looking at. Okay? That's where I'm going. Maybe you go into college. I don't recommend it. But maybe you go into the college route. But you need an offensive coach for Caleb. Plain and simple. Next, Cowboys-Giants. We knew it was going to happen. 27-20. Cowboys have to blow that shit up. Giants have to blow that shit up. I think the Giants are going to take Travis Hunter. Because the Raiders are the number one slated team right now. They're going to take Shador. So the Giants are actually getting projected Cam Ward, which is fine. No real numbers in this game. It wasn't fun to watch, to be honest. Drew Lock went 178, no touchdowns, 1 pick. They have no hope there. Malik Neighbors went 8 for 69 on 13 targets. Their defense couldn't do nothing, no sacks. This was 20-27, guys. This is nothing crazy. Cooper Rush, 195, a touchdown and no picks. Rico Dowdle had a good game for the first time, first 100-yard game, 22 carries, 112 yards, and a touchdown. He looked good, finally. Kavontae Turpin was their leading receiver, 53 yards. Their defense gave him 6 sacks, so it's getting back to what it used to be. But this is against the Giants, so I can't count that. DeMarvion Overshone had a pick 6. And that was it. 5-7, 2-10. Do we care about these teams? No. It will suck. But I predicted right. Next, Packers, Dolphins. We knew what was going to happen here too. Pick the Packers. Why? Dolphins don't know how to play in the cold. What happened? Dolphins don't know how to play in the cold. Tua, 46 times he threw the ball. 365. Oh, nice numbers. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Oh, nice numbers. Our running game, non-existent. Remember, we passed 46 times. How many times do you think we ran? 14 for 39 yards, 2.8 yards a carry. Non-existent. Our best target, our tight end, Jonnu Smith, 10 for 113 on 11 targets. Tyreek, 6 for 83. Devon Achane, 8 for 56. Jalen Waddle, 4 for 53. Our defense, 0 sacks. No picks. Let's go to the Green Bay side. You think it'd be a running game, right? Cold. Nope. Jordan Love, 21 for 28. 274, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 129.2 rating. They ran the ball 25 times for 114 yards. Josh Jacobs only had 43. Tucker Kraft was their leading receiver, another tight end, 6 for 78. Josh Jacobs, 4 for 74. Jaden Reed was 3 for 24, but he caught both touchdowns. Their defense gave them 5 sacks. So the defense is playing how they should. No interceptions. 5-7, basically out. 9-3. 6th seed in the NFC, I believe. Yeah, 6th seed in the NFC, Green Bay. Okay. Next, Raiders Chiefs. Another case of the Chiefs find a way, because boy, could have they lost. They could have lost this game. They could have. It was 3-0 after the first quarter, 10-3 at halftime, 10-16 at the end of the third, and it ended 17-19. Pacheco being back, love it. Aiden O'Connell went 23 for 35, 340. 2 touchdowns, no picks. So we played pretty well. Sincere McCormick, 12 for 64 yards. They ran the ball 25 times for 116. Brock Bowers, 10 catches for 140 and a touchdown on 14 targets. That's what you do when you pick a guy 13th overall. You do that, regardless of what position he plays. You hyper target him and get him the ball because he's your best option to move the ball and score. That's simple. Jacoby Myers went 6 for 97 on 11 targets. Trey Tucker went 1 for 58. That one was a touchdown of 58 yards. They gave him 4 sacks, the defense did. Half by Adam Butler, 1 by Max Crosby, 1.5 by Clavon Chason, former LSU Tiger, and 1 by Zach Carter. No picks. The Chiefs, at home, Mahomes, 46 times he threw the ball. 26 out of 46, 306, 1 touchdown, no picks. 5 sacks for 40 yards. That's a lot. Isaiah Pacheco, second game back, 7 for 44. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 for 90. Travis Kelce, 7 for 68. So I think Xavier Worthy, 5 for 54. So I think that they're still finding the rhythm. Hollywood Brown could possibly come back in the next few weeks. That will change stuff. They got 3 sacks, 1 from George Karlaftis. That was a big one. 2 from Chris Jones, 2 pretty big ones. No picks. Botch snap while driving. While actually driving. So they started at the 8. 156 left. Game is 17-19 because they had just forced Kansas City to punt. So they get it all the way to the KC 32. Mind you, they need a field goal to win. A field goal. Okay? So they work it all the way to the KC 32. And then on 2nd and 3, first and 10 at the KC 39, no huddle, Abdullah, pass short to Abdullah, 7 yards. 2nd and 3 from the KC 32, 16 seconds left. 16 seconds left. O'Connell spikes the ball. Spikes the ball. 3rd and 3 from the KC 32. Don't know what they're doing, but they have no timeouts. 3rd and 3. Aiden O'Connell fumbles the snap. Recovered by Nick Bolton. Next play is the kneel down. That's how close they got to beating the Chiefs. Again, like they did last year. 11-1, 2-10, 2-10, drafting Shedeur Sanders. As for the Chiefs, you could say it's Mickey Mouse. You could say it's luck. We've seen it with the Patriots. Until somebody beats them, and not like Buffalo, anybody, in the playoffs, we cannot say that they're not good, that they're not Super Bowl contenders, that they're not capable of going on a three-peat. We can't do that. We've seen it. Saw this bad shit last year. The only thing now is that the defense is letting up a little bit more because of people have gone down. But the offense we've seen just as crappy. Now we're getting Hollywood Brown back. Maybe it'll help a little bit with D-Hop. I have Xavier Worthy and Kelsey. They're still rounding into form, but they're still a number 1 seed. They're still going to get the bye. You still got to go through Arrowhead in the cold. So that's the advantage. Colts, Patriots. Anthony Richardson showed me some moxie, some want to. They win by literally a game-winning touchdown with a game-winning 2-point conversion when you're on the road. Do you want to go for the win? Steichen, of course, does, and they did that. Richardson went 12 for 24, 109. That's it. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Okay, rating of 55.7. Not very good. Jonathan Taylor, 25 carries for 96 yards. Finally, showing some life. Anthony Richardson, 9 for 48 and a touchdown. Rushing. 34 carries as a team. 144 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. 24 passes. Michael Pittman Jr., 5 for 42. Alec Pierce, 2 for 16, but he caught the game-winning touchdown. 4 sacks by the defense. And Julian Blackman got a pick. As for the Patriots, I believe in Drake May. They have the future. Now they got to build around it. 24 for 30. 238. Very nice. A touchdown and a pick. Ramondre went 18 for 73. Antonio Gibson went 7 for 72. And Drake May even went 5 for 59. They ran the ball 31 times, 200 yards, 6.5 yards a carry. 31 times they ran, 30 times they passed. Pretty good balance. Hunter Henry, 7 for 75. Austin Hooper, 4 for 42. Keyshawn Boutte, 3 for 41. And their defense gave them 0 sacks and 2 picks with Christian Ellis and Christian Gonzalez. But why'd they lose the game? They lost the game because, if we go right here, they missed a field goal with 12 seconds left. So how'd the touchdown drive go for the Colts? Colts get the ball 5 minutes and 34 seconds at the 20. Drive down, clock's ticking. They drive down all the way to the 2. Okay? But look at the clock. They started the ball with what? 5:34. When they're at the 2, at first and goal, there's 28 seconds left. At third and goal, when they take the timeout, they're at 21 seconds. And at 4th and 3, with the game on the line, there was 17 seconds left on the clock. Okay? And with 12 seconds left, Richardson passes to Alec Pierce for 3 yards, touchdown, conversion attempt. He runs it up the middle, and they're up by 1. Somehow, with 12 seconds left, Drake May gets the ball at the 40, at the 30. He has an incomplete pass, 8 seconds left on 2nd and 10. They call a timeout at 4 seconds. Shotgun to Hunter Henry for 9 yards. They're at the 2nd and 1 at the 50. And, of course, Joey Sly was going to miss this 68-yarder. It was short by a mile. End of the game. 6 and 7, still alive in the playoff race. Technically, even though because of what the Broncos and Chargers have done, steep to get there. And then 3 and 10, probably looking at Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Caleb Downs, Abdul Carter, somebody in that realm for the Patriots. All right, Steelers, Bengals, we already touched on this, so I'm just going to, go through the numbers and not the numbers. I'm just going to talk about the game itself. Lot of sloppy play. A lot of sloppy play. You had a pick 6 thrown by Russell Wilson in the first quarter. Let me see. I wish they would tell you the quarters. That'd be useful. Okay, here we go. Yeah, in the first quarter. Where's end of quarter one? No, in the beginning of the third. The beginning of the first. So basically one of the first drives of Pittsburgh's first drive. 3rd and 3 at the Pittsburgh 45. Russell intended for George Pickens, gets intercepted by Cam Taylor-Britt, and he returns it 51 yards for a touchdown. Then you have a touchdown by the Steelers, then a touchdown by the Bengals, then a touchdown by the Steelers, then a touchdown by the Bengals, 21-14. Still in the second, a touchdown by the Steelers, 21-21. A fumble by the Bengals. There's the first big play. What was the fumble? Joe sacked, -3 yards by T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt hits his hand. They recover the fumble. And it's recovered at the Pittsburgh 38. Okay. Pittsburgh settles for a field goal, 24-21. Bengals punt. At the end of the half, get another field goal, 27-21. You go to after halftime, right away, missed field goal by Boswell. Field goal by the Bengals, 27-24. Touchdown by the Steelers. This one was this is the prop Freiermuth. Hits him deep on the right for a 25-yard touchdown. He doesn't even get touched. Okay? 34-24. Here comes the Steelers defense. At the Pittsburgh 40, 1st and 15, just the start of the fourth quarter, 13:35, in a 34-24 game, Joe Burrow gets intercepted, trying to go to T. Higgins by Dante Jackson. Okay? At the Pitt 36. Pittsburgh punts from that. Nothing comes of it. The next drive is what screws Bengals up. The Bengals, unfortunately, get sacked again. Or it was a fumble by a running back, something like that. And Peyton Wilson, the rookie, at either he's NC State or New Mexico State, one of those two. He's either Lobo or Wolfpack. He picks it up, runs it 21 yards to the touchdown. It's 41-31 with 11:06 left in the game. Then you get a touchdown to T. Higgins, a 1-yard touchdown. They take it all the way to the pit 1. 8:39 left. It's 44-31. Okay? I mean, it's 31-41. Yeah, what happened here? Field goal. 24. And then touchdown, 41-31. Okay? Then you go field goal by Steelers, 44-31. And then the Bengals score another touchdown with 2:39 left to Yosivas. But what happens next? They can't get the ball back. They do an onside kick, fail, and they can't stop the Steelers from giving the ball to Justin Fields on a 3rd and 4 at the 40. He picks up the first down, kneel down. Great game, but what it tells me is that I don't think that for the Steelers defense to give up 38 points, And then to them have to torch a team 44, but 7 of those come from a fumble recovery, so that's the defense. So you wouldn't have won that game if it wasn't for that fumble recovery touchdown. That's what you're telling me. So that means if you face a good defense that doesn't allow you to throw the ball over the yard and definitely will not allow you to run, you lose. And that's why you're not in the Super Bowl 4. All right, Chargers, Falcons, we're going to run through these quick. Chargers did what they had to do, 17-13. It wasn't nothing pretty. Herbert went 16 for 23, 147. They ran the ball for 56 yards. Lad McConkey went 9 for 117. The kid is finally developing into that number one receiver they wanted. Quentin went 2 for 12. I mean, look at this, guys. 17 receptions. 150 yards. Lad McConkey had 117 of them. Nobody else had over 15 yards receiving. And Atlanta still couldn't stop them. They got 1 sack, 3 interceptions, 1 by Derwin James, 2 by Tarheeb Steele, the rookie, and 1 by Marcus May. Tarheeb Steele took it 66 yards to the crib. But it was nothing crazy. The Falcons just shot themselves in the foot. 24 for 39, 245. 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. Bijan went 26 for 102 and a touchdown. Raver McLeod went 4 for 95. Drake London went 9 for 86. Bijan went 6 for 33. Their defense got them 5 sacks. They were doing some work, but no picks. 17-13. 6-6 Atlanta, battling for the Trash Bowl NFC South. And the Chargers keep pace as much as they can in the AFC West with the Chiefs and the Broncos, who also won on Monday night, and we'll get to that. The thing about the Chargers is this. Right now, they can't run the ball. They don't have a running back. JK's out. They don't have a legit 1-2 at the receiver position. Quinn Johnston drops balls constantly. Lad McConkey's still a rookie. So it is based off of, that team is based off of defensive effort and getting play and, making plays. They're the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. They got another pick 6. And Herbert not turning it over and asking somebody to make a play. Somebody. Maybe it gets them a win in the playoffs. But looking at the landscape, I like Harbaugh and all, and Herbert. But I think it's too much this year. They need more weapons on the outside. Seahawks, Jets. Jets lost another one, 3-9. They're talking about possibly, maybe they should bench Aaron. They're not going to do that, obviously. Seahawks take slight control of the NFC West. Geno went 20 for 31, 206, a touchdown, no picks. Kenneth Walker, 16 for 49. Nothing big, 4 for 74 for Jackson Smith and Jigba. Their defense got 2 sacks, and Leonard Williams returned a pick 6 that basically won the game at the goal line. For the Jets, Aaron, 39 times he threw, 185 yards. 2 touchdowns and a pick. 12 carries for 60 yards for Brees. Devontae Adams went 5 for 66. Jarrett Wilson went 5 for 41. Their defense gave him 3 sacks, no picks. Blow it up. It is over. Send everybody packing. Everybody on 1-year deals, don't come back. That's done. As for the Seahawks, their big dilemma is, can they put points on the board when they're needed? When they're needed. What does that mean? Cutting down on the punts, cutting down on the negative plays, on the penalties. And maybe you could be successful. But Geno going against, the Jared Goffs, Jordan Loves, Jalen Hurts. It's going to be tough. Texans, Jaguars, another squeaky. 23-20. Texans win. Aziz Al-Shair suspended 3 games. He's going to appeal it for the hit on Trevor Lawrence, which caused fencing. He got a concussion. He's probably out 3 weeks, if not the whole season, but what's left. CJ went 22 for 34, 242, a touchdown, no picks. Joe Mixon went 20 for 101 and a touchdown. Nico went 8 for 119 on 11 targets. Dalton Schultz went 5 for 61 and a touchdown on 7 targets. Their defense gave them no sacks, but Derek Stingley Jr. got a pick. For the Jaguars, Mac Jones went 20 for 32, 235, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Trevor Lawrence only threw the ball 10 times for 41 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Travis Etienne went 13 for 46. Parker Washington, their 6th-round pick last year out of Penn State, 6 for 103 on 12 targets. Brian Thomas Jr., 4 for 76 on 10 targets. Both got touchdowns. Their defense got 2 sacks and no picks. 23-20. Now, before indicting the Jaguars for not winning this at home, and they're also 2-10. They might be looking at Travis Hunter as well. I'm looking at Houston, and right now what I see from Houston is this is definitely a Joe Mixon reliant team, because that offensive line cannot pass block for their life. For their life, they cannot pass block. Okay, they're allowing too many sacks of CJ. They're 8-5, basically have the the AFC South locked up. They should work on pass protection for the next 4 weeks to make sure that in the playoffs they can shore that up. Their defense, good. Offense can move the ball, but you need protection. Need pass protection right now. They don't got it. So it's a Joe Mixon reliant team to have a run game enough to back off the guys pinning their ears back. Cardinals Vikings 23-22 on a field goal. Vikings win the 5th straight. 6-6 Cardinals in the NFC West. I just don't know what to do with this team. Kyler goes 31 for 45, 260, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. James Conner goes 17 for 68. Trey McBride goes 12 for 96 on 12 targets. Marvin Harrison goes 5 for 60 and a touchdown on 12 targets. Their defense gives them 5 sacks. No picks. And then you go on the Vikings side and you think it's going to be like, oh, Sam Darnold must have played pretty well. 21 for 31, 235, two touchdowns, no picks, 5 sacks for 30 yards. He ran the ball for 22 yards, was the leading rusher, just with Cam Akers as the leading rusher and Adam Jones. They all had 22 yards rushing. They ran the ball for 68 yards total. 15-31 discrepancy between pass and run. Justin Jefferson went 7 for 99 on 9 targets. Jordan Addison went 4 for 54 on 6 targets. And TJ Hawkinson went 3 for 28 on 6 targets. 1 sack. Shaquille Griffin had a pick, and Byron Murphy had a pick at the end of the game. To end the game. Because Kyler had a chance to win this game. 23-22, guys. Remember, this is a 1-point game. You got a touchdown with 2 minutes and 7 seconds left. With 1 minute and 13 seconds left. Touchdown to Aaron Jones for 5 yards to take the lead. Immediate next possession. 1:13 left at the Arizona 30. They get it all the way to the nowhere, the Arizona 30. is where they don't move the ball. They get it to the 35, minus 8 yards, because he gets sacked with 53 seconds left. And he scrambles right for 3 yards to get back to the 30. They take a timeout on 4th and 10. Minnesota takes a timeout on 4th and 10 right after that. And then Kyler throws a deep pass, throwing for Marvin Harrison Jr., gets picked by Shaq Griffin. Game over. Couldn't bring him back. 6-6. Still biting for the title, for the division crown with the Seahawks, even though they've taken a game lead at 7-5. Well, actually a 2-game lead because they beat them last week. Excuse me. They beat them last week. And then 10-2 Vikings keeping up with the 11-1 Lions in the NFC North. The Vikings, to me, if Brian Flores could keep this defense playing the way they're playing, Sam and KOC can find a way to win with JJ, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Cam Akers. They can find a way, I think, offensively. But the defense has to hold up. Titans Commanders 42-19. We're not going to gloss too much over this. Commanders keep their playoff hopes alive in the NFC East. Titans suck. I don't know how many times I have to say that. They're 3-9. Another team that's probably looking at a Shador or an Ashton Genty or something like that. Will Levis went 18 for 37, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 212. Tony Pollard, 8 for 35. They ran the ball 11 times for 35 yards and passed the ball 37 times. That's not good. Nick Westbrook-Akine catches 2 touchdowns, the long one that he always does of 27 yards on three catches, which is crazy. Calvin Ridley went 2 for 45. They got 2 sacks, 1 pick by Amani Hooker. On the other side, Washington got back in stride. This is what you do against bad teams that you're supposed to beat. You get back in your offensive stride. Jaden Daniels, 25 for 30, back to his really efficient 206, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Brian Robinson, 16 for 103. Chris Rodriguez Jr., 13 for 94. Terry McLaurin, 8 for 73 and 2 touchdowns. Zach Ertz, 3 for 35 and a touchdown. Their defense gave them 2 sacks, no picks. But the thing about Washington is that if their offense can get back to what they were at the beginning of the season, because it's not injuries. It's more like injuries to like Jaden, and he's playing through it, and I think he's getting through it. But if they can find what they had at the beginning of the season, especially him and Terry McLaurin, then they're dangerous. The defense is going to be what it is, but they're dangerous. Dan Quinn's going to do something with that defense, but they're dangerous. Buccaneers, Panthers. I picked the Buccaneers. Panthers almost won again. Bryce Young is playing a lot better. He's finally starting to show the number 1 pick talent. Almost won the game. If it wasn't for honestly a bad call, even after review of an Adam Thielen one-handed catch, possibly would have won the game. They did not. They go to 3-9. Tampa Bay goes to 6-6, still alive in the NFC South with Atlanta. They won in OT off a McLaughlin field goal after the Panthers fumbled. After Tampa Bay got the ball, didn't do nothing with it, and then Panthers were driving the ball, and then they fumbled. Tampa Bay recovers, kicked the field goal, game over. But Bryce Young tied it. Baker went 21 for 33, 235, a pick, two picks, and a touchdown. Bucky Irving went 25 for 152 and a touchdown. The rookie out of Oregon has already, I think, cemented his place as the number 1 back in this backfield. They ran the ball 31 times, threw it 33 times, ran the ball for 236 as a team, 6.1 yards a carry. Mike Evans went 8 for 118 and a touchdown on 12 targets. Needs an absurd amount of yards over his next 4 games to get to his 11th straight 1,000-yard season. Hopefully he makes it. Sterling Sharp, 4 for 42. Bucky Irvin, 3 for 33. They're still not using Jalen McMillan, 2 for 25. Kate Otten, 4 for 20. Their defense gave him 1 sack, no picks. So they weren't, like, Vita Vea wasn't that impactful. And then Bryce Young went 26 for 46, 298, a touchdown, no picks. Chuba Hubbard went 12 for 43. They ran the ball for 78 yards as a team. Jonathan Brooks got some burns, 6 for 18. Adam Thielen went 8 for 99, showing his old ways and a touchdown on 10 targets. Tommy Tremble went 5 for 77. Xavier Legette 4 for 53. Jonathan Brooks should be the starting running back of this team. You picked him 2nd round out of Texas. He was Bijan's backup and then took over Bijan and had a great year last year. Tore his ACL, came back. I think that he should be the starting running back over Chuba Hubbard. But Chuba, they played him. He was good at coming out of college at Oklahoma State as well. So I can't blame him, but I think Jonathan Brooks is the better running back overall. The defense gave him 4 sacks. Xavier Woods got a pick. Charles Smith-Wade got a pick. But it didn't matter. They lost 3-9 to 6-6. Rams Saints. This was literally 5 touchdowns. And that was it. 21-14. Taysom Hill done for the year. Torn ACL. Matthew Stafford 14 for 24, 183, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Kyron Williams 15 for 104 and a touchdown. Blake Corum 8 for 42. Puka Nacua 5 for 56 and a touchdown. DeMarcus Robinson 2 for 49 and a touchdown. Tutu Atwell 2 for 39. Cooper Kupp 3 for 17. Their defense 0 sacks, no picks. Just did more than the other team, essentially. Just did more. Derek Carr just couldn't. Went 24 for 37, 184, and a touchdown. That's why you just don't have weapons. Alvin Kamara went 23 for 112. He had a good day, but Taysom Hill got hurt, 5 for 37. Marquez Valdez-Scantling caught 2 for 236 and a touchdown. Jawan Johnson went 5 for 36. Like, nothing working. No wide receivers help at all. 2 sacks for the defense. No interceptions. Yeah. No kick returns because it was all touchbacks. 6-6, also alive in the NFC West. 4-8, already out of the NFC South. Looking probably for a new quarterback next year. Eagles Ravens. Okay, so Derrick Henry versus Saquon that's what it turned into at the end. Saquon had the better end of the stick in that one. He also has the better offensive line and a way better defense. Jalen Hurts, 11 for 19. He threw the ball 19 times this game. For 118, a touchdown, no picks. Saquon went 23 for 107 and a touchdown. Long of 25 was the one that sealed the game. A.J. Brown went 5 for 66. Dallas Goedert went 3 for 35. No Smitty. Their defense got 3 sacks. So it wasn't that exciting of a game. Lamar went 23 for 36, 237, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Did take 3 sacks, though, for 31 yards. Derrick Henry went 19 for 82. Lamar went 8 for 79. Zay went 3 for 74. Mark Andrews went 6 for 67 and a touchdown. Isaiah Likely went 5 for 38 and a touchdown. They got 2 sacks on defense, no picks. But the Eagles are a better overall team. The Eagles have a somewhat same offense and a way better defense, especially up front. And Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, and Bryce Huff, like, that is nasty work. Or, Josh Sweat, whichever one's out there. But, It's just the back end for Baltimore is just not there, and that's what's going to cost them, I think, in the playoffs is that back end. As for the Eagles, 10-2, keep up with the Lions, head of the NFC. Have already probably cinched up their division, even though Washington's 8-4, but they can't catch up to 10-2, and the Eagles are not stopping. Saquon 23 for 107 didn't have a crazy massive game. Neither did Derrick Henry, but those are two good front lines that they ran against, and Saquon got the better end of the stick in this game. Bills 49ers, this wasn't even competitive, 35-10 in a snow globe. Brock Purdy went 11 for 18, 94 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Jordan Mason went 13 for 78. Christian McCaffrey's out. He's done for the year. Patellar tendon injury, not torn, but, still PCL, bad, especially coming off of the Achilles tendonitis that he had on both ankles. Jawan Jennings, 5 for 56. I mean, nothing could be done this game. Debo went 4 for 20. Nothing could be done this game. They couldn't sack nobody. They didn't get no picks. And Buffalo just ran roughshod all over him. Josh Allen went 13 for 17. He passed the ball 17 times for 148 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. James Cook went 14 for 107. They couldn't stop him in a touchdown. Ray Davis went 11 for 63. Dawson Knox went 2 for 56. Khalil Shakir went 4 for 30. Their defense gave them 1 sack, no picks. I mean, it was just 35-10 in a very ugly fashion. Another play of the year candidate with Josh Allen passing it to Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper pitching it back to him and him running in for a touchdown in the middle of the snow. That was dope, but 10-2, 5-7, 5-7, blow it up. Not Brock Purdy wise. Just get healthy. Add some more stuff. Just come back healthier next year, basically. With Ayuk, I think that really, really hurting him not having Ayuk there, and of course, no Trent Williams. That's the hardest. But yeah, 35-10. I mean, it wasn't competitive. And then Browns, Broncos. A historic day by Jameis Winston, but gets smeared by three picks, 2 pick sixes, a pick to end the game in the end zone. 58 times he threw the ball for 497, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jerome Ford ran the ball for 41 yards. Nick Chubb for 21 yards. Jerry Jeudy went 9 for 235 and a touchdown along of 70 on 13 targets. He's finally showing his also 15th pick potential when he got picked by the Broncos. It was personal for him against his old coach, against his old team. Even so that even after the game, he said, "I told you I was like that" to Sean Payton. Elijah Moore also had another guy that got picked very high by the Jets, and as a receiver out of Ole Miss, of that old trio of DK, A.J. Brown, and he was the third one. He went 8 for 111. Very nice. David Njoku went 9 for 52 and 2 touchdowns. Their defense gave him 0 sacks. Denzel Ward got a pick, a nice pick. Greg Newsome got another pick. But on the other side, Bo Nix didn't make that many. Well, he got 2 picks, but one was tipped up. The other one was kind of a little bit his fault. But 18 of 35, 294, touchdown, 2 picks. McLaughlin, the running back, went 14 for 84. Audric Estimate 3 for 12. Javonte Williams 4 for 1. Marvin Mims, another rookie, another second-year player that they got from Oklahoma, very high in the draft. He went 3 catches for 105 and a touchdown, along of 93. Cortland Sutton went 6 for 102 on 9 targets. Troy Flanker went 2 for 28. Their defense gave them 3 sacks. They got Nick Bonito on a pick 6, which that kid finally showing up in his 3rd year out of Oklahoma. The speed is there off the edge, but now he can cover. Now he is leading. He's a half a sack behind Trey Hendrickson for the lead in sacks at 11. I think he had another sack this game. Let me see. Jonah Ellis had a sack. Jonathan Cooper had a sack, and Nick Bonito had a sack. He also had a pick, and it took it to the house, 71 yards, took off, ran 19.6 miles an hour. Jaquan McMillan got a sack, got a pick, and picked it nice. Like, it was behind him. He picked it like this, all hands, took it the distance in the fourth quarter to basically end the game. And Cody Barton caught a pick. Very exciting game. Broncos go to 8-5 to keep that 7th seed in the AFC behind the Chargers and the Ravens. And, Browns go to 3-9. Gonna be looking for a quarterback as well, most likely. But Jameis did the Jameis thing, man. He throws touchdowns and throws picks. 497. It's gonna be exciting. But I'm glad that Jerry Jeudy is getting good touches and he's leading the league in receiving yards. And since Jameis Winston has started, he has like 646. He's 5th in receiving yards now with this past performance for 235. 5th time it has happened in the last, 20 years. So big deal. Only guy besides Jamar Chase to break over the 200 barrier this season. That was this week. The standings are as they follow. KC already has a playoff berth. So does Buffalo because they won the division. Yes, Buffalo won the division. It's over. Pittsburgh is 3rd. Chargers are 5th. Houston's 4th. Baltimore 6th. Denver 7th with a good grip on. Those are going to be your 6 teams. Nobody else is going to jump up there. As for the NFC, it's Detroit, Philly, Minnesota, Green Bay, Washington. So Philly number 2, Minnesota 5, Green Bay 6, Washington 7, and then Seattle 3rd. It's just showing like that because of their records. And the 2 divisions that are in play at this moment is, to some extent, the AFC North if Pittsburgh stumbles. If Houston goes rock bottom, maybe the AFC South, but I think Houston got that. AFC West is done. It's done because 1 or 2 more wins gives the division straight to the Chiefs. NFC East, unless the bottom falls out of the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to be the division champs, even though Washington's at 8-5, but I don't think they'll catch them. Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay still have a shot at the NFC North, but I think Detroit wins it. Atlanta, the NFC South is a crapshoot, and so is the NFC West, but the NFC South more so because they have 2 teams at 6-6, the other 2 at 4-8 and 3-9. So 6-6 Atlanta, 6-6 Tampa Bay is going to be a battle to the end. I think eventually Tampa Bay is going to find it because Atlanta's just playing just bad football right now, even though they should be the better team. And then Seattle has a slim 1-game lead on the NFC West, which Arizona is 6-6, the Rams are 6-6, and then San Francisco's still in it, but they're 5-7, and the Seattle Seahawks are 7-5. So that's what you're looking at kind of there as in the divisions. NBA real quick before we get out of here. The standings as they stand, Cleveland's number 1, 19-3, beat Boston by 1, I believe, about a day ago. Good game. Boston's at 17-4, they're 2nd. Orlando's still 15-8 at 3. New York is at the Knicks are at 13-8 at 4. Milwaukee's at 5. Atlanta's at 6 at 11-11. But this is this is 1.5 games, Cleveland to Boston. And then from there, it's 4.5 from Orlando to Cleveland, 5.5, 4-1, 7 games for 5 to get to 1, and 8 games for 6 to get to 1. So it's already getting really spread out here. It's going to be within the seeds because the top 2 is probably just going to battle all year long. Miami's 9-8. They're at 8 and they're 7th. Chicago's at 8th. Brooklyn 9, and Pacers are 10. With Detroit right there at half a game back of the Pacers. Toronto, 2.5 games back. Or 2 games back. Yeah, 2 games back. Charlotte is 6-15. Phillies have 5-14. And the Wizards have not won in 15 straight games. They lost all of November. Gilbert Arenas said, "Oh, you took good. They took No Nut November very seriously. No bust." Pause. Yeah, they're horrible. And then in the West is a lot more competitive. You got OKC, then you got the Rockets. Whoa. 21-year-old Alfred Sengun, 22 or 23-year-old Jalen Green, another 22-year-old in Tari Eason, a 20-year-old in Amen Thompson, and then vets like Derek Brooks and Van Fleet. Pretty good. Pretty good. What's happening over there? I like it. Memphis 3. They got Ja back. So Memphis is 3, Golden State is 4. But those are all separated from 1 through 6 is 3.5 games. Houston's -1. Houston's behind 1. Memphis is behind 2. Golden State's behind 3. Dallas is behind 3. And the Clippers are behind 3.5. That's nothing. That's 3 games. That's 2 games, depending on who loses. So Dallas worked his way back up to the top 5, top 6. Clippers are still hanging on there with James Harden playing out of his mind. Golden State's still there, even though they went through a couple struggles these last few games. They've lost 4 in a row. And then Memphis has won 6 in a row. And Dallas has won 4 in a row. Okay? Then you have Phoenix at 7. Lakers at 8. This is just talking about half a game here. 4 games back on number 1. 4 games back on number 1 for the Lakers. Denver, 4.5 games back. They're at 9. San Antonio's 10 at 4.5 games back. Then you got Minnesota at 5.5 games back. So 1 game back of 10. Sacramento's at 7 games back. Portland's at 8 games back. Utah's at 12 games back. And New Orleans is at 12.5 games back. So pretty. But they can still kind of get into the top 10 if they get on a run. But Zion's not coming back anytime soon. And for Utah, they have to figure out if they want Laurie to be the star, Keontae George to be the star, Colin Sexton. Like, who do you want playing well? The last thing I want to talk about is Giannis is still averaging 33 a game. LaMelo's at 31.1. SGA's back to 30, where he should be. Jokic is at 29.6, and Doncic is creeping back up there at 28.6. Trae Young still has the assist title at this point. LaMelo has jumped Anthony Edwards for 3-pointers made in a game, 4.7 to 4.5. Steph Curry's at 4.2. Those are your top 3. Nikola Jokic still leads in rebounding. Victor leaves in blocks. I don't think that'll ever change. And Dyson Daniels right now, I think, has the steals crown pretty synced up. That's it, guys. I love you guys. Oh, the NBA Cup. The NBA Cup. As it stands right now, we have Y means clinched, right? Let's see. Clinched division. Okay, so in Group A, New York and Orlando advanced. Group B, Milwaukee advanced. Everybody else got eliminated. Group C, Atlanta advanced. Everybody else got eliminated. So Orlando was the wild card. So it's Atlanta, Milwaukee, Orlando, and the Knicks. That's your East. Your West is Rockets, and still figuring out if it's going to be Portland or the Clippers in Group A for the wild card. Group B is not decided yet, although the Lakers and Utah. Lakers are the first champions last year. They're eliminated already, and it's between OKC, Phoenix, and San Antonio, and then Golden State already with 3-0 clinch Group C, and it's Dallas, Denver, Memphis battling over that one wild card spot. So Group B has to be clinched by OKC if they win one more game, and then the wild card is going to either be Portland, Phoenix, Dallas, Denver, somebody from there is going to be the wild card. That's about it. I love you guys. Thank you for being here with me and supporting the show. I want to get more stuff in here, more graphics, and make it really nice, change the set a bit. But all that in due time. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the comments, follow me on all my socials. I love you guys. God bless. And I'll leave you with the outro.